find out about cultivating fearlessness, which I encourage people to try to do, have a quick conversation with Mike G. Despite his performance, he won't hurt you. So this is the point in the evening when I'm going to make a few quick announcements. And some of them were taken care of already, so let's see here. Oh, Saturday, next door, at Niche, from noon till about 2:30. I'll be doing my monthly workshop. I'm about to take off 2 months from the workshop because Toni and I are getting married and then going on our honeymoon. But we will return in September. And I appreciate the people that are in the class that mentioned it. It's not necessary, but it feels nice, and I appreciate it. Thank you, Alex. So we'll do it one more time before I take a few months off, and if you'd like to join us right next door, Saturday at noon, please do that. I usually begin with everybody sharing a poem, just to say hello, so be aware of that if you've never been there before. And because the wine and art bar is not really open at the time we're doing the reading, if you want to have anything to eat, bring along some snacks, some shareable snacks. But they are usually able to be convinced to make a little coffee and tea, but that's about all that will be available to you there. And then the other one was, George already mentioned the 20th, and on the 27th, I'll be giving a workshop at Multnomah Art Center, which is in Portland, so if you have friends in Portland, tell them about that, or come over and see me. I love working with Multnomah Art Center. It's a great arts, they do theater there. There's a senior center inside it. They do art classes. It's just a great place to work. And I'll be doing like a 10 to 3 with a lunch break workshop over there on the 27th. So I just wanted to let you know about that. And so to get back into the open mic, now we're going to hear once again from Ian Katie. Welcome up, Ian.
This call, I'd like to start something with you. Could it be the way she bats her eye, the way she sighs when she says my name at night? I'd like to start something with you. Could it be the clothes she wears or the way she stares when I'm not looking at you? I'd like to start something with you. I'd like to start something dangerous, or do something treacherous, like jump in front of a moving bus, or hop in bed with you. I'd like to do something I'd regret, and then maybe I'd get wet, and drink a few over it. I'd like to start something with you. Could it be her pouty lips, the colors she wears, the way she shakes her hips as she walks upstairs? I'd like to start something with you. I'd like to start something with you. I like the way you tuck your pants into your boots. Think I'll take a chance to start something with you. I'd like to start something dangerous, or do something treacherous, like jump in front of a moving bus, or hop in bed with you. I'd like to do something I'd regret, and then maybe I'd get wet and drink a few over it. I'd like to start something with you. This one's called Residual. I can't believe how long she has taken to drink this glass of wine. The wine she sips smells incredible, but nothing compared to her. She puts the wine glass on the table behind me, occasionally reaching back to take another sip. Imagining her long dark hair in the morning as she adjusts her seat, elbow brushes mine. I am only halfway listening to the featured poet as she takes another sip of her wine. Eyelashes, pale skin and freckles, the shape of her nose and forehead, I could be her father.
Next we have one of our recent featured readers and old friend of the series, Herb Stokes. Don't scare him, Toni.
Sorry.
What's happening? I know what's happening. Bullshit, fuck you, cunt, tit, ass. And now for some poetry. Bathroom birdies for the honest in residence. I chose this gift card with birds in a tree because it reminds me of where I pee. But also because you chose to share your painting of birds hanging there. A lively portrait of feathered fowl with red cardinals and a pensive owl. And perhaps someday you are apt to show the bowl into which I cracked. I'm not done yet. Or maybe I am, but it looks in the face. I'm sorry, I was probably drinking when I wrote that poem. Or maybe I was crapping, I'm not sure.
Yes. Very pleased with the scatology. It makes me happy inside. You know, what happens if you gave an all ages and uncensored reading and no one talked about their dick? You know what I mean? Can you get an advertising that way? So thank you to all of you who mentioned your dick and other body parts. And next we're going to hear from Pedro Andrade, and I always enjoy Pedro. Welcome back, Pedro Andrade.
Good evening, everyone. I say this with all due respect. My last name is Andrade.
Andrade, excuse me.
No, sorry, don't mention.
Thank you for correcting me.
Who will ever remember that?
So I got a few poems. This one is written, this is actually a rap written in 1993, not by me, but after watching a 15-year-old girl get slammed on the ground by a white police officer, right, while pointing a gun, and then he starts pointing a gun at other African American kids, while like a 300-pound white man stands right by him, he does nothing. He's not afraid of that guy. He's afraid of the kids. I decided to write, to read this poem because as a kid it stood out to me, you know, and I've had my dealings with the police and whatnot, and so I just wanted to share this with you. It's called The Sound of the Police by KRS-One.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm not going to do the chorus, I'll just do the verses. Stand clear, Don man talk. You can't stand where I stand, you can't walk where I walk. Watch out, we run New York. Policemen come, we bust them out the park. I know this for a fact. You don't like how I act. You claim I'm selling crack, but you be doing that. I'd rather say see ya, cause I will never be ya. Be an officer, you wicked overseer, you hot shot, wanna get props and be a savior. First show a little respect, change your behavior, change your attitude, change your plan. There can never really be justice on stolen land. And are you really for peace and equality? Or when my car is hooked up, you know you want to follow me, your laws are minimal. Because you won't even think about looking at the real criminal. This has got to cease, because we be getting hyped to the sound of the police. Now here's the little truth. Open up your eyes. While you're checking out the boom bap, check the exercise. Take the word overseer like a sample. repeated very quickly in a crew, for example. Overseer, 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 officer, officer, officer. Yeah, officer from overseer. You need a little clarity? Check the similarity. The overseer rode around the plantation. The officer is off patrolling all the nation. The overseer could stop you, what you were doing. The officer will pull you over just when he's pursuing. The overseer had the right to get ill. And if you fought back, the overseer had the right to kill. The officer has the right to arrest. And if you fight back, they put a hole in your chest. They both ride horses. After 400 years, I've got no choices. The police, them have a little gun. So when I'm on the streets, I walk around with a bigger one. I whoop whoop. I hear it all day, just so they can run the light and be upon their way. Check out the message in a rough styling. The real criminals are the COP. You check the undercover and the 1PD. But just being a mere black man, then want to check me. Then check out my car for it shines like the sun. But them jealous or them vexed because them can't afford one. Black people still slaves up till today. But the black police officer not see it that way. Him want a salary. Him want it. So he put on a badge and kill people for it. My grandfather had to deal with the cops. My great-grandfather dealt with the cops. My great-great-grandfather had to deal with the cops. And then my great-great-great-great, when is it gonna stop? I wrote this poem. It has nothing to do with police brutality. I wrote it at a writing session. I was supposed to write on the theme, "Went to hell, returned as me." Opening the window, she lit the stem, inhales. After the exhale, turns to me and says, "Go to hell." We've been together for 6 months. She loves me, but can't stop. I've pleaded, gave her the love I could, what I thought she wanted. We knew this was it. I opened the door to leave, to run again. But then I remembered where I was before the we. I didn't move my feet. Thank you.
Much respect, Mr. Andrade. I will get it right next time. And thank you for bringing KRS-One. I think he's one of our great teachers, and I haven't heard, we've always encouraged people to bring anything to the open mic, so good choice. Thank you so much. And next we're going to hear from Laureate Loranger.
I'll refrain from comment. Okay. I'm not used to using the microphone. I'm using it. Here's a short, sweet one from my son Jake, who is not here with me. He's the king of the refrigerator poem at our house. So I took this off of the refrigerator and now I take the liberty. Embrace this fragile metaphor. Heaven's rain meets winter's breeze. The poet dreams beyond and above, never yielding. Not going to throw papers? Okay, this is called Embodiment of Dangerous Truth. I am an outlaw, afraid to come out, wary of judgment. Whatever regard you may hold up for me is so transient, such a delicate flower, it will shatter in the light of truth. Shredded petals rain like confetti if you ever discover who I am. Okay, this is called Unraveling. Somewhere underneath In a nook, small and deep, sleeps a tiny bit of fluff, powerfully compressed. Dig until you find the closest end. Grasp it, twist your fingertips, my muddled mind to mend. Untwisting, twining vines of story, pulling past, apart, revealing everything. That fluff is a fuse, one atom expanding, exploding preconceptions, dismantling old hurt, transforming to ash all that is not true, shattering at breakneck speed. Shards of whatever I really am long to reassemble, to pull themselves together into something better. Somewhere underneath, dig, untwisting, that fluff is a fuse, shards of whatever, unraveling, disintegrating, aligning, harmoniously falling into place, into something better, shattering everything, revealing the power to mend.
Thanks, Lori. And so, now we come to the host of the last Tuesday's reading at Barnes & Noble. I'm sure that she'll tell you all about it. Please welcome Ms. Rainina.
It is past my bedtime and I'm very tired. And it'll happen to you someday too, okay? The last Tuesday of every month we have a reading at Barnes & Noble at 7 p.m. And there are some of you that will have to bring your clean stuff because it's right next to a children's department. So they just don't allow some of the stuff I've heard here tonight, although it's very excellent. You'll just have to bring your, beatific stuff, But everyone's welcome.
So nothing beyond PG.
I'm sorry, it's not my fault. Barnes & Noble's corporate, come on. That's the rules, kid. Okay. Ritual. He watches her take a small blue crock out of the refrigerator. She snaps back the metal fastener, removes the ceramic lid. She lifts the little crock to her nose, inhales deeply and sighs. She reaches into the cupboard for her favorite blue and white mug. The copper tea kettle whistles, so she pulls it off the burner. She puts a number 2 filter into a single filter holder and places it on the cup. She lifts a heaping teaspoon of the fine ground dark coffee into the filter. She adds a smidge more for good measure. All of her actions unfold with great reverence and mindfulness. Very zen. She pours the steaming water over the coffee and watches it disappear, then adds more. She lifts the filter to check the level of the coffee in the cup. When it is half an inch from the top, she removes the coffee filter holder, discards the used filter with coffee grounds into the wastebasket under the sink. Then she smiles and takes her coffee and sits in the corner in her favorite chair. He smiles back at her, but says nothing, content to simply watch. He is beguiled with how she begins her day. It is always precisely the same. It is such a comfort to him, her continuity. Now this is way wacky, okay? This might be about my cats. Dogs have owners, cats have staff. My housemates are Winston, who is Joel Grey in Cabaret, and Oliver, a Buddhist monk in meditation. Occasionally they mix it up when Winston decides to interrupt Oliver's annoying calm. For the most part, they lay like fine Dresden sculptures, superior in their artfulness. When I go into the kitchen for anything, they mystically appear and stare up at me until, compelled, I top off each food bowl. Not a meow need be uttered. I adopted the masters on a cold December night, Each had his own appeal, and I could not choose between them. Winston the elder was 4 months old, and his brother Oliver Twist was 2 months of fluffy kitten cuteness. Winston, sleek gray with white spats and ascot, struck me as properly British. The shelter had named him Giorgio, but I could see that he was no way Italian. And who names a kitten Seabreeze? Really? Oliver Twist, a musky tortoise shell, looked every bit the gutter snipe. It's been a year and a half. In that time, Oliver has receded deep into Buddhist meditation, and Winston has channeled his high-strung persona into a perfect Joel Grey in Cabaret. His voice demands attention, and he is the playful tease who engages Oliver and me. There are only 2 of them. They cannot procreate. The rule is a woman must have 3 cats to be a crazy old cat woman. I have only 2, you do the math. I am simply a blank woman with a couple of British roommates. One is a gentleman and the other, certainly a bloke, born again Buddhist. Rise.
Right.
Here's someone calling my name. So I have 2 for you. The first is something I came across as I'm trying to prepare a chapbook. It might not be ready next week. It may take another week or 2. And prior to looking through stuff, earlier in the day I was thinking about my love affair with moi. I don't know why, but I have a love affair with moi. And I've identified melodrama as the kind of predecessor to moi. And I love them both, I don't know why. But anyways, here's a piece that references moi. And it didn't have a title, but it was at Barnes and Nobles when they used to be in the other part of the building. Sean, I guess, or it might have been a guest. I think it was a guest that was saying, introduce yourself. Quite kind of a mini workshop we went on there. You give your poem a title and read it. Okay. So it didn't have a title. So the title that came at that moment was Liminal Granola. Dream, lost and found and lost again. As a passing shadow, glimpsed fleetingly via looking glass, I crave your cinematic qualities like film noir, yet colored with crisp-edged elements of a paint-by-number page. I have seen you before. I recognize your numbered cues, your unmistakable hues. Dream, lost and found and lost again. Oh, Anima, I remember you. You were a pixie-ish blonde in a previous episode. Here, a raven-haired femme fatale. And I was so happy to see one of my poet crushes come through the door today. Mike Hughes here. I've missed him for so many months. He's been doing that working thing that we have to do sometimes to get the money to pay the rent so we can write or whatever. And so I saw him and thought, okay, let's see if I can find that in there. There is a more complex structure that I've never quite mapped out, trying to work the lyrics of the song with sound bites from the news that I haven't collected yet, that I was going to intersperse. This is more abbreviated than that. Mike G and I in simpatico inquire one another in the grand schema. Then we talk tangentially of tears. In unison we start to sing. Don't cry out loud, just keep it inside. Learn how to hide your feelings. And then we stop, self-censoring abruptly, knowing, speaking about how this song doesn't serve the greater good. Then I start a different song. Little child, Dry your crying eyes. How can I explain the fear you feel inside? 'Cause you were born into this evil world where man is killing man and none of us know why. Mike approves of this song in contrast to the other. I segue into my theory regarding certain events in the world. The violent events, macabre outbursts, though they have happened before, seem to be increasing in frequency. These events, according to my gut, are something transcendent of the crises of the individual perpetrators. Some kind of expression of global consciousness, collectively in fear of flux, a reaction to eschatological ennui. The break is ending, the open mic resumes, the nature of our conversation stays with me, echoing along with me into sleep. I wake to the commentator of the breaking news blitz. The children are crying. I feel the lyrics of that song tugging at me. I know I need to Google the lyrics. So that was the morning of the major massacre in Sandy Hook. And there had been something locally at Blackness just weeks before that. So there you go. And at some point, maybe there'll be a larger forum. And shameless self-promotion, the announcement got missed earlier. Paper Tiger next week, Paper Tiger Coffee Roasters. I am honored to be the feature. Joyce asked me to do that. Hopefully there'll be a chat book. I don't know if that'll be, maybe a beta form will be there. But to do it right, it'll probably need a little more time. Thanks.
Yeah, I hope everyone will show up for Paper Tiger next week. That's always a fun one on the third Wednesday of every month. And next we're going to hear from Angeline. Welcome back, Angeline.
Oh, darn. Did someone leave this letter up here? Because there were certain people who weren't supposed to see this. Okay. Take this and hope no one saw it. Okay. So, I'm Angeline. Yeah. Okay, so as per usual, I have one of my own and one of someone else's. I'll start with mine, which is very, very first rough draft, as in the part where I get words from my head kind of into ideas. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. And so far it's called I Want to Be a Bird, and that's because that's the first line of the poem. So, I want to be a bird. The adults exchange knowing glances because they know better, because they are grown-ups. They know little boys don't grow up to be birds. But the big people with their big words have forgotten when their biggest words were once upon a time. They did not think that maybe the boy didn't know a word better than bird to explain how he wants to rise above the pool of the earth, let the wind into his soul, spend days gazing at treetops and nights chasing fireflies. A word for how he wants to find a wife who actually likes his ridiculous dance moves, and how he tries to impress her by dressing with bold color choices. A word for how he wants to build his own house, choose each piece of wood, create a place that, instead of calling their own, is their own. A word for how he wants to provide food for his children, watch their wings grow strong, see them fall and get up until they fly off, chasing their own fireflies. What is that word? The adults give suggestions. You want to be a fireman? A doctor? An astronaut? I want to be a bird. The wise grown-ups shake their heads. He'll understand someday. They never will. And so usually I try and bring someone I haven't brought before, but I actually just realized I probably read a poem of his last month. But this is by Antonio Machado, who was a Spanish poet during the Civil War era, I believe. And I'm going to read it in Spanish first and then in English. And as I'm not a native speaker, I apologize for any mistakes, as usual. So it's called Cantares. Todo pasa y todo queda, pero lo nuestro es pasar, pasar haciendo caminos sobre el mar. Nunca perseguir la gloria, ni dejar en la memoria de los hombres mi canción. Yo amo los mundos sutiles, grávidos y gentiles, como pompas de jabón. Me gusta verlos pintarse de sol y grana, volar bajo el cielo azul, temblar súbitamente y quebrarse. Nunca perseguir la gloria. Caminante, son tus huellas en el camino, nada más. Caminante, no hay camino, se hace camino al andar. Al andar se hace camino y al volver la vista atrás se ve la senda que nunca se ha de volver a pisar. Caminante, no hay camino sino estelas en la mar. Hace algún tiempo en ese lugar donde hoy los bosques se visten de espinos, se oyó la voz de un poeta gritar. Caminante, no hay camino, se hace camino al andar. Golpe a golpe, verso a verso, murió el poeta lejos del hogar. Le cubre el polvo de un país vecino, al alejarse le vieron llorar. Caminante, no hay camino, se hace camino al andar. Golpe a golpe, verso a verso. Cuando el cuero no puede cantar, cuando el poeta es un peregrino, cuando de nada nos sirve rezar, caminante, no hay camino, se hace camino al andar. Golpe a golpe, verso a verso. And in English, a translation I found was the first translation I found, so if it's not the best one, I apologize. And it's called Songs. All goes and all remains, but our task is to go creating roads through the sea. My songs never chased after glory to remain in human memory. I love the subtle worlds, weightless and charming, worlds like soap bubbles. I like to see them, daubed with sunlight and scarlet, quiver under a blue sky, suddenly and burst. I never chased glory. Traveler, the road is only your footprint and no more. Traveler, there's no road, the road is your traveling. Going becomes the road, and if you look back, you will see a path none can tread again. Traveler, every track leaves its wake on the sea. Once in this place where bushes now have thorns, the sound of a poet's cry was heard. Traveler, there's no road, the road is your traveling. Step by step, line by line, the poet died far from home, shrouded by dust of a neighboring land. At his parting, they heard him cry, Traveler, there's no road, the road is your traveling. Step by step, line by line, when the goldfinch can't sing, when the poet's a wanderer, when nothing aids our prayer. Traveler, there's no road, the road is your traveling. Step by step, line by line.
And now I believe reading with us for the first time is Erin. Come on up, Erin. Am I correct about that? Yes, welcome.
I have 3 short poems. I realize 2 of them are kind of similar, but oh well. So the first one's called Stardust. There were days when I couldn't change my clothes, and you liked that. The way you You could talk to me all day long and go nowhere. You never wanted to let go of anything, but I made you because it was the things that kept me tied down. And even though I knew this was no way to live, there were bright moments, like when I woke you up way past your bedtime to show you the constellations on the cold lawn, because we were discussing galaxies. Even then I was frustrated that you couldn't keep the universe and the United States straight. It just seemed so small-minded. But then you were small, and I was sad, straddling my guilt with my ability and my dreams, knowing full well I would fail you. Just out of curiosity, does anyone know Battlestar Galactica? Okay, good. The newer one only because Katie Stackhouse is our friend. Katie Stackhouse. This poem's called Miranda July. And if you don't know who she is, you should look her up because she's a genius. Her prolific writing dumped from coast to coast. I heard she once lived here, inspired by the gray. What does it take to have your writing mean something like Miranda's? She was an actress. I would have never wanted that. I realized as I stood talking to Katie Stackhoff's manager, my eyes drifting to a tan Sarah Wayne a yard away, thinner than I'd imagined. I knew there was nothing I could say that would not be simple-minded. And I thought of how they must grow weary of earning their keep, talking to stuttering strangers about how they should have dressed as Kara instead of Caprica 6, or how there is no potential of recovery, that the act never really ends. Miranda July, with her pocket full of independent performances and millions of interesting pages, her hopper and her rock star, she is an enviable, almost anonymous success with a catchy name. Miranda July, like blue skies and feminism, free to be herself. Portland Classic, her return to LA and blends in and NYC. Miranda July, how will I catch you? And the last one is called Equinox, and I read it on Tuesday, so sorry for the repeat if you were there on Tuesday. Equinox. Venus greeted me like a gap-toothed, floppy-haired child, and I asked her what she was so happy about. The spring sky, as stark as a symphony, cold light piling up over the centuries, pooling around our atmosphere, trickling onto the rolled, moon-dusted grasses, competing with the yellow buzz of window light. Was this the empty luminescence the Mahayana Sutras spoke of? Or maybe some twist in my pineal gland cast by an angry solar arm? Or maybe planned destiny, that she and I would meet on the dark dawn of the equinox, me dripping with sadness, and her so full of cheer.
Okay, I'm going to call Dusty Santamaria to come back up here and help me out. Last night, I believe it was last night, we lost Ornette Coleman at 85. He was a great composer and jazz saxophone player, and I was fortunate enough to see Ornette twice. Once was in New York, in Battery Park City, about a year or so before the towers came down. So because I'm not a Wall Street guy, that was basically the only time that I stood in front of those two buildings. And then, because of Toni, and because Toni is one of the most thoughtful people on the planet, she bought me tickets to see him at Arlene Schnitzer Concert Hall when he was there in February 2008. And I didn't really know when I heard he was coming to town, but the last time he had been in Portland before that, I think it was 23 years or 25 years. So, if you only had two opportunities, these were two great nights. And the one in Battery Park in New York, he played for hours with, like 4 or 5 different groups. So different kinds of composition, different kinds of music, so I feel very blessed. And so this is for Ornette. Battery Park, New York City, June 1, 2000. Ornette says, sound is imagination free of grammar. Sound is grammar free. Yarmulke prayer sway, hands clasped neath tree. Last time I seen Miles was freedom single chamber dozens. Global expressions, harmonics, homicide administered, Ornette match, foghorn blow. Unwelcome jackhammer accompaniment, enraged the crowd erupts. Turn it down! Turn that machine down! Lights going up, and still they hit it, hit it, hit it. Sound is free of grammar. Hear no sound but the glory of three. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Ornette is a genius. He can do whatever he wants. The sound will follow you as well. Squeal and squirm, shift and drift, here and also there. Challenged by multiple through lines, rivers, cover above, white rust, stick flies off into black. Before word, sound. Pause to breathe. Snapped out of a reverie, up and leaves. Low moan crawls forward. Ornette picks up the trumpet briefly, puts it down. Dread builds. Where are we going? Who will show us the way? Chest cracked open like a walnut shell. Vortex release, tide pulls. Red stretched around the front. Miles invoked, summoned. Sunrise convulsion. Look at out. Funk stroll. Whole life in the bag you're in. Blondes arise in the mind's eye. Follow him up. Are you in the right building? The right church? Doors once open, never close. Sound like him. Resurrect him. Finished. Not. Suddenly, a violin interjects to attend to delicate circularity. 5 become 1. Don't put a number on. Not everyone departs. Together, wipe away, move. Secret to be completely awake, yet malleable. So many moments missed. Notes work their way in, up, out, and through. Flutter seed, attention, trickster, polymath, complex equations, stepped up. 2s become 3s, ejaculatory breakthrough. Thank you, Ornette. Look, remember, lonely woman, precedent, evening praise, circle closed, complete. Dance of clarity, the road forms under our feet. New foundation of our creation. Thank you, Ornette Coleman, and thank you, Dusty. Thank you for your tolerance and your energy. I hope to see you here again on July 9th, and we'll have Alex Dang, who's simply one of the great performers of poetry that are out there. And be kind to them next door, because we kept them here a little late. And yeah, we'll see you soon. Thanks so much.